The water's fine. Jump in. Go ahead. Who's on somebody online?
When's the last time you've read it? If not, it's got 12 tactics that really address handling tough times, right? And you could say, is this a tough time? It's not. This is a weird time. What I mean by that is what we think should be down is actually up, and what we think should be up is actually down. You're like, well, what do I mean by that? Well, what should be up right now that's not in our market? Yeah, inventory. And it's not. It is not up. And so to put this in a little bit of a showcase is I'm going to be talking a little bit of master the market of the moment, because the moment you're in right now has some unbelievable opportunity to take advantage of. But you can't sit back. You can't hesitate. You really have to jump in and move forward. Greg, we're going to get you at the end too.
We got it fixed. There was somebody online that had their microphone on. It was echoing.
Okay.
It wasn't us.
Okay. All right. So here we go. And we pivot and we move on. Here's what it says in the Shift book. To master the market of the moment. The game of life. Tell me if you agree with this quote. The game of life is not so much in holding a good hand as playing a poor hand well. That's an interesting thing to think about it. You've all been dealt a hand in your life, right? We're in a market of the moment. It's a hand. You're in a market of the moment of wherever you were in your life and what you've been given and health and factors and genes and DNA and all those. It's just how do you play with what you've been dealt? And we all have such a great opportunity. But I like to look at it because this is a great hand we've been dealt. So snapshot, we look at the market. This is just me looking at Fort Bend County, right? And we look at months supply of inventory, right? So knowing the difference between a buyer's market, a balanced market, and a seller's market. Anybody know the difference? Well, hold on, let me back that up. Month supply of inventory is right. Theoretically, if no new homes came on the market, this is how much time with the demand that's there to eat it up, and we'd have nothing left. So seller's market is how many months supply of inventory. Okay. Balanced market is what? It's in the book too, by the way. When I say the book, this is based on Gary Keller. What's a balanced market?
6 months. 6 months. 6 months. 6 months.
Okay. So here's what it says in the Shift book by Gary interviewing the best of the top people. A buyer's market is more than 7 months of inventory. A balanced market would be 5 to 7, and a seller's market less than 5 months of inventory. So right now, according to all of this is Brokermetric, which is just pulling MLS data, right? Right now in all of Fort Bend, this is all properties is sitting at 2.4 months supply of inventory. Really. Now, last February, you could feel it different, was 1.6. So you're like, oh, it's different. But look at the trend that's just happened since June and October and December. It's continuing to creep back down. That's why we're hearing of priced right, good conditions. We're still hearing multiple offer situation because your demand is still there. Now, you can take an overpriced listing or one's not in condition and it can sit. You might sit in a particular area where you can't move a property. There's still those cases, right? This is hyper local. And we had a discussion yesterday on the ALC where they volunteered to say, yeah, I probably took a listing that was overpriced. And what's your strategy? Because the seller just would not listen. So we got to come up with the strategy of what happens when it sits there, right? Research also tells you that for every, this is National Association of Realtor, for every 8 to 10 showings that you have, you should have an offer. If you have 8 to 10 showings and you don't have an offer, what did the market say? Price too high. That's it. So if you have somebody go, my goal is to get 10 showings on your property, real showings that people show up and look at it, we don't have an offer, the market's spoken. I can't change the market. And or if you sit there in 2 weeks and you don't have a showing, the market has spoken, we have to adjust the price, right? So we're still sitting on low inventory. If it's priced right condition, it's going to move quickly, right? And then the next piece I want to show you is just a little snapshot of, maybe there was 2 pages. Okay, that's all you get in that piece. Okay, here's what I want to read to you. There was one other slide, but it's telling us our for sale has gone up a little bit. Our under contract have gone down a little bit, but in February, there was close to 1,000 properties that sold in Fort Bend County. How many? 1,000. Meaning, can you sell properties in Fort Bend County? 1,000. The opportunity went away, just went to somebody else, right? It didn't like it's not there. Yes, it's down, but that's still a lot of properties to go buy and sell. So do the activities that are necessary to get there. All right. So here's what I want to jump ahead. And I just want to talk about this master of the market of the moment, because there's such a niche and an opportunity for us right now. And I love the words that Gary says. This is where his brilliance really comes out. It says every market brings its own rhythm and its own rhyme. There's a rhythm and a flow to this market. And you got to be in the rhythm and flow of it, if this makes sense. And the way that we get in the rhythm and flow is we have to constantly be studying it. You got to know what's on the market, especially in your area. You got to know what went under contract. You got to know what's sale, and you got to keep a constant pulse on it. Niches and unique opportunities that show up in one market disappear in another. What worked for us, right, to move properties last February and March is not going to be successful in this market. Now, the traditional way of go lead generate, that's going to work. But the way that we sell things, the way we work with buyers, right? I'm going to have Dale come up and talk a little bit. The product that AMCAP has right now on the 100%, you should all be very familiar with that and see if the property qualifies either on a listing or a buy side, because it's the best product that I see out there. And this is not pitching. I don't get paid by AMCAP, but I literally watched Andy work with a connection through our family on a purchase, and it was fantastic. That was awesome. No, we don't have interest rates at 2.75. That's gone away. Some of you will never see that in your lifetime. I didn't mean that. I wasn't looking. And some of us might, but we might have to hang around for 30 years to ever see something like that again. So really understanding the market of the moment. Each shift has its unique characteristics with possibilities and prospects that are specific to that market. The instant these markets of the moment appear, make sure you take notice. Don't hesitate. There is a definite advantage that goes to those who move first. There's an advantage when you figure it out and you have a solution. Your entrepreneur spirit comes up and go, man, that's a tech. Let's go for it. There is an advantage. The sooner you get involved, the better. Whether you completely dive into these new opportunities or not, they are worth studying and mastering. Those are some well-written words of advice. So what goes up? Our inventory is, it's going to trickle back down some more. I think our inventory is going to get even tighter. Now, do I have a crystal ball on this? No. I think you're going to see more multiple offer situations moving forward. Yes, we have the banking issue, but if you were here last week, thank you. It seems like yesterday. That's how fast my world works. And it was Tom, right? Thank you, Tom. Came in and he just gave really solid information to know. Now, if everybody in our world ran to the bank and wanted their cash, what would happen? We'd have a complete collapse where our whole world would fall apart. So confidence is really important. It works if everybody has confidence in what we're doing. And owning real estate is still the best way to build wealth. Absolutely the best way. And I'm going to share something else with you and why you really need to jump in and own real estate. Because I'm on the journey to really, really figure this out and take advantage of it. Does this make sense? Okay, next thing. Everybody read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad? If you haven't, put it on your list. You're online. I don't know if you can see me or not. And in there, Kiyosaki talks about the 4 quadrants. Quadrant number 1 up here is what? Employee or just a job. I call it a JOB. These are my own wordings. What's right here? Self-employed. That's what you guys all are. On this side is what? Business owner. Down here is what? 95% of the population is here totally, and 5% of the population is here. How do you figure out? In a shifting market, when things change, this is your opportunity to get on this side. Being very intentional about moving over to the side. So I've been reading this book that the coach that told me I got all out of whack with paying taxes. What does that mean is I paid way, because Andy and I own businesses and we have different things that are going on, and we just got hit, right? And it got us out of a rhythm and flow. My coach says, how much did you pay in taxes? That was your own fault. Here's the book. Go read it. Let's get very strategic about where you put your money. Anybody read this book? I'm going to share key concepts to you is, yet he was the advisor for the Kiyosaki, the tax accountant, and the benefits to taxes comes where? On this side. Say it's fair or not, but here's the key points I want to take to that book. I really suggest you read it, but I'm encouraging you to get on this journey and figure this out wherever you are in your journey moving forward. First off, local and state federal governments create incentives with tax laws and an attempt to encourage specific activities that benefit the economy and promote social policy. The reason the benefits come over here is because that's where the government wants you to put your money. It benefits all of us when they do. The book that I'm talking about is Tax-Free Wealth. The other book is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This book is the tax accountant who worked with Kiyosaki on his taxes. So this all falls in line together. The next piece, yes. Tax laws are written. Okay, great. We got those books too. Are you giving these away or what? No. These are the other 2 books. They come in bigger, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and then he called Cash Flow Quadrants. This is actually a board game that you should play with. If you have small kids, this is a fantastic to get them to understand money in the way that it works. And I am not a master. I'm just on the journey. Some of you can come teach me a few things too, and I'm open to it. Tax laws are written mainly with the goal of stimulating growth, not raising tax revenue. Listen to that. Gross income is about how much you make, but net income is more important because it's what's left over from everything is said and done. This should be funding things for you to put your money, right? Unless you need to qualify for a big loan to get financed or something. Our job is to really lower it and put our money where we get the breaks. Every step you take in business or in personal life has an effect on how much tax you pay at the end of the day. I say that because I paid a lot. It's because I wasn't intentional. I just got up and I worked really, really hard. And all of a sudden I looked up and go, oh my goodness, did I just work for the federal government? And we live in a great state because why? There's no income. I own a business now in California and they have this thing called what? State income. I don't live there. I don't want to give you money. Oh, you have it. Oh, I have to pay the federal. And on top of it, they have it. I guess it's something because you're near the ocean, you have to just pay more. I say that with humor, yet there's a reality that shows up in our world. And if somebody has this all figured out and your taxes are anywhere from 10 to 15%, and you're making it, you could be taxed at a higher bracket, please tell us and we'll put you and come teach us, right? This is how important this is. Because of the persuasive impact of taxes, tax planning shouldn't be done it should be done daily instead at the end of the year. Anybody fall guilty of that one? Like, how much money did you make? I don't know. I haven't filed my taxes yet. So these are just awesome techniques. And the reason this all fits in is mastering the market of the moment. There's such a moment here. Of the 4 types of income earners, employees, self-employed people, business owners, and investors, right? The 2 types of people who can benefit the most from tax code are business owners, entrepreneurs, and investors. You are technically right now, you are a business owner. So what should you set up? A what? Well, an LLC, or even more importantly, you could set up an S Corp. And why an S Corp? There's so many advantages to this. Doesn't matter where you are on the journey, you should be studying this. So why an S Corp? You can pay yourself a salary. What else? You can pay your kids. I am so frustrated at myself because now I got this in place, but I didn't have this because the tax accountant goes, we could run your tuition to your kids. Tuition, I got kids that pay tuition. It's a lot. Chris, what Chris was sharing was, right, the self-employment tax, because you treat yourself as an employee. You're just shielding. Now, remember, I am not a tax accountant. This is my disclosure. Go seek your tax accountant. We're giving you ideas to go find the right tax accountant. And I used the gentleman upstairs. Yes. The reason I stop and I pause and do a math, because the more that we can offset what we pay here, it can be channeled to other areas, right? This is how the wealthy, and we think, oh, tax the rich. You really can't tax the rich. I mean, this is not a political statement. The reason why is because their money is here and they're doing what the government's asking them to do. It's not a loophole. Government wants jobs, right? They want businesses and they want housing and they want things that stimulate. That's why this comes over on this area. You're in a great profession because you can earn commission. You can work with a tax accountant, and then you can fund other areas in your life. Well, and it's a little bit more than that, right? There is tax. Yes, if you can take your money and what you like, the quickest way, if you needed cash, right, and you don't want to pay taxes on it, what would you do? No, you needed cash, right? And you're like, okay, I can go out and earn it. You're going to have to pay taxes on that. There's ways to do that with your business. Or this is working with sellers right now, by the way. This is a master of the moment. If they're sitting on a lot of equity, what could they do? They could refinance and take the cash out. But you're like, oh my gosh, it's at 7%. You're like, okay, well then let's go sell the property and not have a place to put it and pay capital gains at whatever rate it is. Guess what? It's more than 7%. So you could get that money out of there and then you could sit on it. So when people get equity, so when we're talking to a seller, and they're like, well, I want to hit this price I want to do. What's your goal? What are we after? We got to find their motivation as the market of the moment. And do you understand a few good ideas or resources to channel them in the right way? Of course, you got to have a good tax accountant, or they have to have a good tax account in their hip hop. If you present something to your tax accountant and they say, oh, no, that's a gray area, that means what? They don't have the knowledge. You got to have to switch it up. You're going to have to find somebody that's reputable. We're not doing anything illegal, but they have to have this mindset in place. This is a reason I bring this up, because we could actually get somebody that wants to sell and needs to move and has a product, and there's all sorts of solutions we can do for them, because they're all sitting on what, for the most part? They're sitting on equity. Unless we had one yesterday when Kimber shared is they moved it in a year and they didn't have any equity and they had to write a check to close, and they decided we just need to move back into it, which is a win. We took care of that client. She didn't make money on it. It's okay. It'll come back around. She'll be rewarded later. So getting the idea of where this is, all I'm suggesting is this is a great resource to go. You guys are in such a great position. And we really, you can get anywhere you want to in the next 5 years. Because if you could buy one property a year, 5 years, you're sitting on 5. You could do 2 a year. That's where you bring up. That's why I'm going to have Dale talk a little about financing. There's so many solutions that we have. If you have a good deal and you go, well, I don't have any money. There's somebody out there that has money that'll partner with you. There's all sorts of ideas. Don't limit yourself. And we're going to see them. They're going to come up. It's going to be a fun time. Your bank's going to be okay. Don't listen to all those people, right? Unless we all run in and cash out, then we're all in trouble. So we need to have confidence. Okay. Good book. Read it. Look into it. That way we can take advantage of the opportunity. I hope you're excited of the seat that you sit in today, where you are. It's going to bring us some good stuff. Okay, moving ahead. All right, I got Dale something to share. I don't know if you guys are aware of this program. If not, you need to pay attention. It's just one tool in your arsenal. It's not moving. Okay, hold on. Oh, there's more points to the book.
He's got more points.
I'll go real fast in these because I told Dale I'd get him on. Stay here, Dale. It's okay. Strategic estate planning is a key way to permanent lower taxes and your pay. If you're, I'm not looking at anyone. If you're sitting on some good wealth, you're older in your life, and or you have parents, make sure you visit with the tax accountant and just not. There's strategic ways to go about it. It's an easy way. One of the biggest advantages investing in real estate is gaining access to income deductions offered by the tax law. There's so many things with depreciation that's such a benefit. That's a whole nother class. Many real estate investors have little or no taxable income, while plenty of positive cash flow by employing powerful tax strategies in their business. I.e., that's Donald Trump. This is not political. I don't care what you say about him. He was just putting the money to where the government told him to put it. He just did it at a high level. And then we listen to social media and say, oh, look at him and doing it. I'm like, let's look at the strategy. Owning real estate in a legal entity structure, such as an LLC, helps to lower taxes, protects you and your assets from legal claims and personal liabilities. LLC are your friends. How many of those can you create? Many as you want, and they're really not that expensive to put one together. Or you can just do a handful. Okay, now we're ready, Dale. Good book. Do we not have it slide, Norman?
Go.
This is Dale. Everybody know Dale? All right. This picture, how old is this picture?
I don't know.
Yeah, that looks pretty good.
Thanks, Chad. I appreciate it. Always a lot of support.
Yes.
So wanted to talk just briefly about, Chad's wife. This was a program that she introduced. This was a program that Andy introduced to some clients. Keep going. Go sit down. Go sit down. So current market rate today on a regular conventional primary residence purchase, 30 years with excellent credit, 770 credit scores and 20% down, is roughly about 7.25%. Is everyone aware of that? His clients closed on 100%. Well, it's money. You're sharing the money unless she's got a secret bank account.
Yeah.
So the clients, okay, good. Closed at a rate of 5.375 on this loan 3 weeks ago. 5.375, no money out of pocket, no PMI on the loan, and a seller contribution of $8,000. Does that sound too good to be true? Is it? How do we know? Not getting any feedback from anybody really that's pushing this program. Chad wanted me to talk about this program just to let you know where it's available. You guys are missing out on an incredible opportunity. One thing it talked about in regards to investment. What if you had the income in this room to go buy another house, enough to qualify to purchase another house, and could buy that house with no money down, no PMI, and a lower than market rate, and take your house that you currently have at that really low rate because you bought when rates were close to 3% or maybe even lower, and took advantage and turned that property into an investment property. You've got a very low payment on your investment property, your current home. What are rents doing right now? You're an investor. What are rent rates doing? They're higher than they were. Okay, which means you're going to have a bigger spread, more cash flow to potentially offset that you might pay a little bit more for that new house that you're buying with no money down and no PMI. It's an opportunity for you. It's an opportunity for your buyers to come to you that say, I don't have any money. Well, guess what? You don't need any money to go buy a new house and take advantage if you qualify for this program. So let's talk about the program real quickly, okay? The home, the address is required to be inside of a certain census tract that is approved by the lender. We, AMCAP Mortgage, are the only ones that are originating loans. We're called a third-party originator. It's originating loans for a bank called Hancock Whitney Bank. They're currently out of Alabama. They have locations in Texas. That's why we're doing loans in Texas, Alabama, Louisiana, Florida, and parts of Mississippi. They have come to us because we are in areas, KW offices, that have access to agents to bring them buyers. It is their own money they're lending. When it's your own money, you make your own rules. People ask all the time, my competitors are out there. Just throw a name out there, Cornerstone Lending. I don't know how they're doing this program. It's just too good to be true. The lender makes the rules. They're willing to take on a little bit of risk with no mortgage insurance and 100% financing at a low rate. It's their money. They can control it. One thing to say about that, when it's your own money and you make your own rules, you underwrite the loan to what your specifications are. The loan has to receive an approved, ineligible approval on an automated underwriting system that we run the loan on a conventional loan. What does that mean? It's ineligible because the percentage of down payment we put in is zero. The only reason that the loan would show ineligible is because the computer doesn't recognize no down payment. There's no such thing as a zero down payment on a conventional loan. That's not important for you to know. It's on our side as that's running the automated underwriting system. That is the only thing about the
Oh, you
loan
haven't even gone yet?
potentially ineligible. The reason I bring that up,
I don't have both
have to have a minimum 640 credit score and get a
Yeah, I'm gonna go to this
conventional
meeting
loan
real
approval
quick.
on this loan
Then
program.
I'll come fish.
Conventional loan will probably not approve the loan if they had late payments within the last 12 months. If you're currently default on student loan debts, you're not getting a conventional loan. If you've had a bankruptcy in the last 4 years or a foreclosure in the last 7 years, you're not getting a conventional loan approval. I bring this up because your buyers still have to be qualified buyers that pay their bills on time. Okay. Chad's clients, so you know, I had a brother and sister that were on the loan together, and they qualify because they're both going to live in the house together. So I had multiple buyers. Both of their incomes were used to qualify for the loan. I just closed a loan where the mom is located in Puerto Rico. She's in Puerto Rico, has U.S. credit. She is the non-occupying co-borrower, which means she's helping her daughter that lives here and works here, and she's going to add good credit and good income to help her qualify for the loan. You can have a non-occupying co-borrower on this loan program. There are no income limits. What does that mean? You can make $1 million on your tax your tax return, or you can make $50,000 as long as your income is enough to qualify. When you hear the word census tract, anybody have any misconceptions about what a census tract is? I think the perception is a census tract might possibly be a low income area. We're going to buy houses in an area where there's shotgun houses, where it's really poor income areas. They are not. And so as Chad just turned this on, I wanted you to see some areas. Every one of these areas highlighted in yellow is an area that qualifies when we plug in an address, and it falls inside of these little numbers on this map. Anybody recognize where this map is? Right where we are, sitting right here today.
Brothers
where we
Lake,
are.
I know where that is.
Yes.
It's out by the power
So
plant.
Chad's in the wealthy area. He doesn't. Hey, Chad brought up the median income with all of his wealth. And so his neighborhood no longer qualifies. Thanks, Chad.
Huh.
I want you to look at this. Anything that we've got on here that's scratched out does not qualify. Kimbra, unfortunately, your neighborhood and the neighborhoods a couple north and west of you do not qualify for the program. But everything else, if I run a search and the home price at 100% financing is below the conforming loan limit. Does anyone know the conforming loan limit? They don't.
Well, it's because you haven't taught us enough.
$726,200. $726,200. If the home price is below that or equal to that number, and they can qualify based on income and assets and credits, then they could buy a $726,000 house with no money down, as long as it's inside of one of these nice little yellow highlighted areas. There are other areas inside of town that qualify. Chris, you had a question.
Look at the map, and you have like Harvest Green, Pollyanna. You have a lot of neighborhoods.
Good point, because it could be a new construction home, yeah, that you use.
Absolutely. So there's an agent in this office that wanted to sell her house and had me look up her house address in Harvest Green, and it's priced at the very top of the list, and it qualifies. So don't think it's only low income that's going to qualify for this. Okay. As Chris said, new construction. You have a buyer right now. Builders are aching to get rid of their inventory. If you brought them a buyer and my buyer needs 100% financing to get this deal done, will you take the deal and still offer the incentives of closing costs, maybe prepaid upgrades, or lowering the sales price? Will you do that? If you ask that question to the builder, they will say absolutely. They're willing to move the inventory. So what I want you to see, the only couple of items that are in here in this area, this is Pecan Grove. This is the neighborhood with the big acreage. This is where McCrary Meadows is. That doesn't qualify. Out towards Fulshire does not. The income is too high in some of those areas to qualify. But as Chris said, the reason that new construction is qualifying is because as you build out in these areas, the density or the population is very low. There's not a lot of income because most of that property is acreage. If I made $1 million, but it was me versus a very small number of people, that brings way down the income or the median income in some of those areas. And so that's what helps to make that qualify. So the 100% financing, a conventional loan only. It has to be a primary residence. They're doing the loan for buyers that are deserving of this program to help them. They call it an expanded opportunity program. It is fantastic for first-time home buyers. If you have a listing that is in an area where it is a pre-existing home and it's outdated, what's the great part about this program? No money down. You, as a buyer, can take your money that you have and do your updates and upgrades to the house and make it exactly the way you want it using your money because you don't have to put any money down. Now your property just became more sellable to a lot more buyers if you have the listing. Make sense? Same, flip that in the same that when you're working with buyers that see a house that just said, I just can't see through this paint color or the carpet looks like crap. If we run this loan program, here's an opportunity for you to make that house the way that you want it. It fits your budget. It fits your budget. It fits the schools you want. It's the neighborhood you want. It's just down the street from the family, and it can be updated because you've got the funds to do it. Especially if you negotiate, which is common right now, would you say that you can negotiate the seller to pay some closing costs or potentially lower the sales price of the house? That's available right now in this market, would you say? Most of you agree. So no income limits, they can make whatever the number is, competitive market rates. We're seeing the current rates about 0.75% to almost 1 percentage point lower than what the current conventional rates are for perfect loans. Great thing about that 5.375 rate that I got Andy's clients, they didn't have perfect credit. The rate that's posted for the day is the same for a person with 800 credit scores or the guy that just barely squeaks by with a 640. There's not a fluctuating rate on that program, and it changes daily based on where the market is. Okay. Loan amount up to 726 in qualifying areas. It's got to be inside of a census tract. How do you know as an agent where this property qualifies, if it qualifies or not? Contact me. Well, I'm going to ask you to do something. There was a site, that FFIEC site. Thank you, Norman. Will that show up on here?
We don't know today.
We don't know today.
Anything.
Okay. FFIEC.gov. Yeah, we've talked about that. Anybody understand no mortgage insurance? What's the reason? Absolutely. People put down 20% to avoid PMI, and the loan program has no PMI, as we talked about. Thank you. So if I go to, I can't do it from here. Perfect. Yeah. Cool. This is going to be difficult, but I can do it. Okay. So what we do, we go to the FFIEC government website. It's going to give me a spot to click in an address. That if I typed in an address, let's just use an address. And it may automatically populate. Whoops, can't spell. Evening Bend Court. All right. So when we go to this website, if you see this tract code 6746.02, that's the code that's been assigned by this government website as tract for a census tract for that area. We then can compare that with the website that the bank has put out to see if that area would qualify. How do I go back on your screen to the previous page where I had that highlighted yellow? It's real simple. So on here, I can look on that. I just happen to know where it's located. And that census tract number is actually located in Greatwood, which is 6746.01. It does not qualify. If you can provide myself or Catherine or Denise the census tract code, we can pull up that address once we open our email to see and compare it to the list that the bank has. So that part is super easy. We can tell you, yes, this qualifies or doesn't. Remember this. If I have a buyer that wants to buy in a neighborhood and this neighborhood just happens to be Harvest Green and one house qualifies, as long as the other house in Harvest Green, if that's their neighborhood of choice, is within the same census tract, it's also going to qualify. How easy is it to get access for your buyers to be able to do this? I would suggest you get a QR code, that you have a link that you can share. We at AMCAP are the only ones that have this loan program in the city. Yet my business card or Catherine's business card or Denise's business card has QR code, and the people just take a picture and they immediately can go to that, and we're going to be notified when they go to apply. Once they apply, we pull credit, we look at an area and we can say, yes, they qualify and meet the criteria for this loan program. Know that if your buyers have potentially poor credit, they're probably not going to qualify for this program. But that's another opportunity for them to get with one of us, push them through, get their credit to a point to where they are able to qualify for the loan. So any questions, anyone?
Okay, here's your strategies. First off, if you have a listing, see if the house qualifies or not, because we can market the listing. If there's a top producer in the office and it qualifies and they're not marketing it, hey, Kimbra, do you mind if I posted your listing online? She either say yes or no. It qualifies for the program. Let's get it sold. So you could advertise it one way. The next way is when you get the buyer, let's get them pre-qualified. And if this is a program they're interested in, then we can give them a list of homes that they can go see. And it wasn't my clients, it's Andy's, and they were actually our tenants. So we're going to be needing to turn around our rental property. But guess what? We're going to charge higher rent, and we can, and we will get it. So it was Andy's clients, and they fell through us. Yes. Yeah.
Another opportunity.
Yep.
That's so easy. You would.
Yeah.
100% financing, no MI.
Yep.
And partner up with Dale.
Catherine.
Do a workup on that. Do a workup on that.
Yeah. Let me say one last thing. This weekend, a buyer of mine went to McCrary Meadows. There was an agent that held an open house. The agent, not with KW, with EXP, was pushing, saying, oh, this neighborhood qualifies for 100% financing with no PMI. It's a great program. She told them incorrectly. However, if you're working with buyers and you tell them, I have access to a loan program, they don't know if you're the only agent or the only office that has access to it. They know that you are bringing them something of value. They will be committed to using you as their agent. Okay, thank you all. Bingo tomorrow night.
Bingo. By being prepared, luck will now be on your side. So on your mark, get able, get ready, get willing, go, and go get the market of the moment. That's my quote for that. Okay. That's good stuff, by the way. We're working on having some value adds. Go back to our, okay. Come on, Greg, let's go. Bear with me a couple of minutes.
Real estate is more than just buying and selling a home. Everyone has a story, which is what I love most about my job, helping my clients navigate and face the big life transitions. Hi, my name is Serena Chiu. I am the owner of Ambassador Real Estate Group at Keller Williams Southwest and Ambassador Management Group. We are a team helping clients buy, sell, invest, and manage properties in around Houston area since 1998. Growing up in Taiwan, both my mother and father were teachers. So naturally, they encouraged me to become a teacher, which is what I did. I graduated from college, I got married and went to graduate school. After graduating, I taught at my college for 6 years before moving to the United States. After a few twists and turns in life, my 3 children and I ended up in Sugar Land, Texas. Once settled in Sugar Land, I started my career as an assistant property manager. In the same year, 1998, I got my real estate license, and in 6 years, I obtained a broker's license and started my management company in 2004. I understand better than most that each client is unique and their needs are always prioritized. As a former teacher, I take an educational approach to helping my clients understand the buying, selling, and investing process. Whether it's a change in job, relationship, location, or want for something new, I will consistently make an effort to make sure my clients are supported and excited with each transaction from start to finish. My most authentic passion is helping others. My service does not stop at closing. Most of my clients still call me for questions or vendor referrals to this day. I feel very fortunate to be in real estate and property management and have met all the wonderful clients who have become lifetime friends. I thank God for blessing me through the endless opportunities, and it would be a great honor to work with you. Real estate is built on trust. Let your peace of mind start with Ambassador.
Outstanding, Serena. Now she's over there cringing when she's watching it, right? Yeah, we're all cringe because we don't like to see ourselves on video and hear our own voice. And you were fantastic, by the way. I don't like to hear my voice either, even in an echo. It really does. Thank you so much for joining this week. Don't forget the great things. Bingo tomorrow night. Win some fun prizes. AMCAP stepped in and grabbed our pizza. So make sure you thank the team as well because we needed a little bit of help. And we'll see you next week with no technical difficulties. Have a great day.